This is Speaking on Songs with Holden and Nate Luxo. Enjoy.
All right. Thwomp, thwomp. Thwomp, thwomp. Thwomp, thwomp is right.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Welcome
Hello.
back to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for the late, little hiccup in the upload schedule, but cry about it.
I was going to say,
Cry.
we knew you'd understand.
No, I don't care.
Okay, yeah. Cry, I guess.
And then we forgive you.
Yeah. For not forgiving us.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's been a long while since we recorded.
It's been a long
this.
time.
Yeah. I'm done. We're done with Taylor Swift forever.
Oh, yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I forgot. We're done with Taylor Swift.
I'm not listening to her anymore. I'm joking.
All right.
I don't know
cool.
why. But yeah, it was just been a long time. A lot of things happened, and I'm honestly just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I mean, I'm tired too, but we got coffee.
Yeah, we do. We got some coffee. And, with coffee, you can get them at coffee shops. And
Is this leading into something?
And when you're at coffee shops, there's like some music sometimes playing. Yeah. And you listen to it. Nate, what are you listening to?
Oh.
What have you been listening to?
That was fantastic.
Thank you. Segues.
Mostly the Wonka soundtrack.
Dude, wait, did you watch that?
No, I'm just playing.
God. Dude, I'm gonna sidetrack. Wonka was really good.
It was really good?
It was really good.
Okay, good.
I think the songs are very good, and it's strange in its own way. And if you like musicals, you should watch it. If you don't like musicals, give it a shot. Just know that they're gonna be quirky, because that's kind of like
those go hand in hand, probably.
Yeah.
And Timothée Chalamet, he sings, right? Like that's wow.
But he's apparently, I think he's done like musicals most of his life, or like he has that. So it's not like they chose random actor and they're like, you're gonna be in a musical
with Andrew Garfield and Tick Tick Boom. They're
he
like,
was
there
good
you go.
though. He was good.
He was okay.
He was fine, but he learned how to sing in like a year. So
yeah,
I don't know. Good job, Garfield.
Good job, Garfield. Mostly I've been listening to pretty largely scaled albums, if that makes sense, like big maximalist type things.
Big boys.
Yeah, like
big tunas.
Big kahunas. Like Sufjan Stevens' album Illinois. That album is just a huge scale.
I haven't listened to that
album.
yet.
You should listen to it. He has 2 albums based on states, because like when he gets an idea, he's like, all right, album time. And he has one based on Michigan that's really good, but I really like his one that's based on Illinois. And I feel like that's a good introduction to his music anyway. I've been listening to Sleeping at Last. That is another band that like decides, all right, here's a theme for an album. And then there's one called Atlas, where each song is like named after a planet, or like north, south, east, and west, and then like the oceans and stuff. And it's really massively scaled, but still really intimate with the vocals and everything. It's really good.
Nice.
And Little Sims. I've been listening to Little Sims because, fun trivia about me, that's my favorite rapper. She is fantastic.
It's really cool. Little Sims.
Little Sims, not Little Sims, because she's British.
Oh, she's British.
Yeah, Little Sims. Her name is her nickname is Simbi. That's like a abbreviation of her given name, and so she made like a backronym album called Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, like after her name Simbi. And that album is really good. It's super orchestral. It's got like crazy percussion on it, but also the strings are just amazing, and it's really grandly scaled for an album about introversion, and I really like that album a lot.
That's awesome.
What have you been listening to?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would. I'm a weather boy.
It's crazy. Anyhow, yeah, I've actually been listening to the Wonka soundtrack a bit.
That's crazy.
It kind of goes a little hard. We're just going like a hat full of dreams, A
hat full of dreams?
In the moment or so. No, for a moment. It's pretty good. You want to know any of this, because you should just go watch Wonka.
Okay, that would be the first movie in the theater for me, I think, for this year.
Yeah, it's really good. If you like musicals. If you don't like musicals, you're gonna stomp out of the movie theater and be like,
You know me too well. That's exactly. Yeah.
I hate this.
I always think I don't, and then I watch them and I do. Like, it's like just
Yeah.
an imaginary stigma. Yeah,
I think you just gotta be in that mindset that it's
for sure.
most of the music is designed for characters to dance and stuff like that.
Right.
That's all the acting and stuff. It's whimsical, depending on the play.
Yeah, I don't know if I like when movies use that as like an excuse to not have plot there, you know? So I feel like a lot of like Disney and Pixar movies, when they're musicals, like that's not usually the case. They're not usually trying to hide a lack of plot. It's just because they're trying to be a musical. So I like that.
Yeah.
But I think La La Land obviously doesn't do that. It's just impressive all the way. The old West Side Story is like decent at that, I guess. I don't know. I'm racking my brain. That one's okay. I don't know.
But yeah, I like that a lot. And my friend Nick, buddy old pal, he got me the vinyl for Stardew Valley, which is this video game.
Didn't you want that for Christmas?
I did want that. He got that for Christmas. Call him Jolly Saint Nicholas.
Saint Nick. Let's go.
Because he got me what I want for Christmas, and I thank you for that. And I've been, putting that on the background. It's really good. It basically it's designed for like all the seasons, and I've been enjoying the winter one for some reason.
For some reason. Man.
It's winter. If you're listening back from like a while back, it's winter right now, and it's very snowy and cold.
Yes, I'd also like to shout out Nick because he got me East by Joanna Newsom, and I just listened to that yesterday. It's so good.
Nice. Yeah. I think I always, when it comes to this part of the show, I feel so ill prepared in the moment. I'm like, what did I listen? What am I doing with my life? What am
it's been like an interesting amount of time where you're like going through your catalog in your brain, like, what have I actually been listening to?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think those two are the biggest ones.
Yeah.
In the noggin.
That's good that the Wonka soundtrack, I'm picturing it like being preserved from outside the music or the movie experience. I mean, like it's staying alive outside.
It's definitely better with the musical. It's also, I will say, like I've heard better soundtracks than musicals. Okay. Like I'm not saying this is a grand thing, but it's awesome.
But it's worth listening to.
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right. Nate, why don't you intro us into the artist that we're going to talk about?
I'm going to shed a little light on who we're talking about because it's the Lumineers. It's this band that was called a folk band maybe a decade ago, and they didn't like that, even though they like compared to everything else in their in their musical soundscape, like the industry, they were basically a folk band.
They're basically a folk band, but every year when it gets to Spotify, the re-rap, it's like Stomp and Holler.
Stomp and Holler.
Stomp and Holler.
It's like new bluegrass, like NU bluegrass.
You've got new grass. I was reading in their profile, and I think it was like rootsy pop.
Rootsy pop, new grass, Stomp and Holler.
So folk.
Yeah, like when you have as many genres being poached by pop in the mainstream music industry, it's okay to generalize them as folk, I think.
Yeah.
Even though it's folk rock or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, folk rock I feel like fits them the most.
Sure,
but also Stomp and Holler I'm fine with.
Yeah, I Stomp and Holler when I listen to them.
Exactly. In approval, not disapproval.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't Stomp and Holler like, oh, I hate this song.
Yeah, those both have kind of wavering connotations.
Exactly.
Yes, we're talking about the Lumineers because at this point of the show, when we talk about an artist or band, we like to give our top 5 of their discography and kind of give our reasons why. But this band has 4 albums, so
they do. They had like a 15-year career, and they've released 4 albums, and I gotta say, with a lot of singles. They do a lot of movie stuff and a lot
features
of live
on
shows.
Zach Bryan's album.
Oh yes, they do features. And
Or Noah Kahan's single.
did they do something with Noah Kahan?
Wesley Schultz did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But I gotta say their albums and their track record is really good.
Their track record.
Their a very high quality albums, I would say. I had a hard time ranking these because honestly, I want to hug them all. I want to hold them all.
It's Fleet Foxes all over again. But we're like, oh, it's easy. We get to include every album, but then it's just a matter of ordering them.
Exactly. And I don't know. They're just such a important band to me. Because I remember I was talking about Fleet Foxes. I went on that folk playlist to learn, to experience more knowledge of like what am I missing out? What are people listening to now? Because I was definitely on the old music grind, and they were one of the bands that I just clung to, and they're really good. And in my head, they're like the people of the folk boom in 2010, even though I'm sure you can go through the history of that and like point to other bands, but everybody was bopping to Ho Hey.
No, absolutely. I think at large they're the front runners of that, because like even if you had bands like Fleet Foxes or Bon Iver, like they weren't captivating everyone's attention, especially on the radio like the Lumineers were. Yes,
they were everywhere, which I guess that's why
they were ubiquitous.
Get that pop thing like attached to them or something like that. But I guess we should just get into it. Their bio on Spotify sucks. It's just like it reads like what is it, like a business proposal or like a pitch. Like it's just
elevator pitch.
This is their number one thing, their first hit from the single. It rose to number 2 on the Soundboard Billboard charts.
Like, who's this for? Who do you need to sell the Lumineers?
I just wanted to know what their names were. You don't even mention it.
Can I please get a waffle?
Can I please get a waffle? So wait, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
It's tough because you went first for Taylor Swift, but I went first for what I was listening to. You go first.
Oh my god.
You got this. You have that look in your eye. Trust me, people who are listening and not watching.
So, my fourth, and I still love it, is Brightside.
Wow.
I listened to it recently because honestly, please forgive me, I'm a Lumineers fan. I did not realize they released this album.
Like when we resolved to listen to them for this episode?
Oh. Well, not when we resolved. I think I learned about it later, but I just didn't pay attention to it. And I wish I did, because there's like a lot of, it's just the same old Lumineers that we know. It's like all that same quality. Except like I listened to it like only a couple times, and I feel like this is an album that you gotta listen to a lot, because I was reading up and they like base the idea off of like Billy Joel and how like much depth that he manages to get in his writing in each song. And I feel like even though this is like probably their shortest album, it's a very compact, like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's just 9 tracks.
Yeah, it's just 9 tracks.
Very Billy Joel of them.
Yes, but like very, very like a lot of depth in the writing and what they're trying to evoke, which they've been doing that a while. But for this one, there wasn't like a ballad. There wasn't like a story to go along with it. It was more little pieces, and it could be connected. I don't know, but I'd love to listen to it more to figure that out. And it's pretty cool that they made an album that makes me want to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And my favorite track is Birthday.
Okay.
Birthday.
That was pretty fun.
It's so much fun.
It's funny you said that it's the same Lumineers that we've always known, because I feel like they lean way more electric in this album.
I was thinking that too. They did lean a lot, but you listen to Cleopatra and it's electric guitar still, like every song, and the piano. That seems to be like their 2 instruments that they gravitate to in most of their, like the past 3 except the first one.
When it was all strings. I'm so sorry. I forget what their third member's name is, but when she left, you can hear it. You could totally hear it.
I hope she's doing all right because I
her
did
solo
not
stuff's
hear.
good.
Oh, she did solo stuff?
Yeah.
It released? I'm going to have to check it out. Is it like, does it start with an N? Is it Naomi or something like that?
We could look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Why don't you explain to the folks at home? I'm sorry, guys.
Oh my gosh.
What's your fourth, man? While I look up this girl's name, who
Yes.
definitely deserves to be known.
Yes, I shall go fourth. This is another album that I do like. I didn't really like it when I first heard it, but like I was telling you earlier, you convinced me to give it another shot, like as a whole unit, because I was familiar with a lot of the individual songs, but hadn't really heard it front to back. And it's worth hearing front to back, but I'd still place it fourth. It's Cleopatra.
What?
I know, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Cleopatra's really good. It feels like it takes kind of a darker, more solemn turn from their original, like their debut self-titled, but it doesn't feel like it has as much of a direction as the albums that came after it, if that makes sense. It just feels a little bit wandering and aimless, and that feels like the point a lot of the time, if I'm being honest. Like, there are some songs that want you to feel empty. I feel like Sleeping on the Floor makes you want to feel empty, even Ophelia, which, can we stop obsessing over Ophelia as a character? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like she has like way too big a place in the collective conscious that she doesn't really deserve.
The song's not about her though.
I know, but the name Ophelia, I feel like
you're right. Like
feel
the band did it.
Yeah.
I
feel like
Is that
Shakespeare
it?
did not put that much thought into that character,
yeah.
and everyone's kind of extrapolating like, oh wow, this is crazy.
It's a beautiful name.
It is a beautiful name.
I think her name is like, if you like the meaning of it, it's kind of weird, right? Is it like drowning or something like that?
It's heavily connected, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The songs feel like they want you to feel as empty as they are and as their characters are, because it does introduce a lot of different characters and gives their sad stories. But I didn't really feel as much of a holistic connection between them as I did on the other albums. Even their first one would introduce a lot of characters, and it still felt really connected and unified. Whereas this one, it felt kind of wandering.
I can see that. There is that random like Hunger Games song just smack dab in the middle of it. But
Yeah.
I can see that.
I do like Gale Song and
It's a good song.
the title track, Cleopatra, for sure. I love those songs a lot.
Nice. Her name, I found her.
Yeah.
And her Wikipedia page sucks. It's Nayla Pekarik. And
She's fantastic.
she's really good, and I miss her, even though it's been like how long?
It's been a while.
6 years or something. And also, I don't really know her at all, but I really enjoyed it when she was part of the band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that they hired her off of Craigslist?
Did not know that.
Yes,
That's great trivia.
because it was just them two.
Yeah.
It was Jeremy and what's her
Wesley.
name? Wesley and Jeremy, and yeah, they just needed a cellist because it was just a guitar and piano.
And a cellist they got.
Yes, and she rocks and also sings, which is, I there was a time where they have a lot of stuff on YouTube where they just do a bunch of outdoor gigs and stuff like that, and you can. There's some like a song that they never released that she sings like a duet with Wesley, and I don't know, like I could tell that, like I can really understand that why she left and wanted to do her own thing, because I don't think there was room in the Lumineers for her to do that.
The direction they went doesn't feel like something that'd be compatible with her, I guess. But when they were together, it felt like it kind of worked. They just grew apart, I guess.
Yeah. What's your oh no, you already said your favorite tracks. Never mind.
Yeah. What is
So I guess it's
your third?
my third.
Top three.
I'm thinking about it.
Good.
I'm letting it sizzle. I'm not checking my notes. If you're listening, I'm not checking my notes. Yeah, that's what I thought. I after some thought, I'm gonna say my number 3 is 3. Not
You had to
because-
check your
not
notes to realize that
because-
3 was 3?
And the reason is because it could have been my number 1. Like it was like I was shoving. I told you I had a hard time deciding this. 3 was the first Lumineers album that I listened to.
Whoa. Like front to back, you mean?
Yes, front to back.
Okay.
That was it, and I love it. I love it so much. It this is where they started doing this with Cleopatra, where they had a story underneath the whole thing that connected all the songs.
Right.
But like as you can say, like it did like lose traction because that wasn't the focus of it. Or I guess it was the focus of it, but they allowed other songs to fit in there. 3 was like very much focused on telling the story of addiction through 3 generations of people.
Right.
And it is very beautiful. It is very sad. And I think it's an album that they needed to make because they were dealing with people in their lives, or have dealt with people in their lives that, you know, faced addiction. And man, some of the tracks, even though this is such a sad story of addiction, there's so many good songs on this album.
Yeah.
Like Leader of the Landslide. I love that song. But also Gloria was the big hit. And I just love the melodies that it goes through. Like Donna, Life in the City.
Oh, Life in the City.
Life in the City is good. Jimmy,
That song hurts.
Jimmy
They all hurt.
Sparks.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. And Salt in the Sea, I think, was made for a movie. But it fits on this album. Where like
Well, that song is from the perspective of addiction.
it is.
Like,
It is. So maybe they like figured out how to still make it connected. But like
Yeah.
I said, this is a very well made album, which maybe it should be my number 1, but
how does it go down to number 3 versus number 1?
because I love the other 2 a little
Okay.
bit more, and I love the songs in the other 2 more. Like I feel like this,
Okay.
if I had to like get rid of one, I wouldn't get rid of any. I don't know how to say this, but like I thought about it and it felt wrong. I just don't think the emotion that I get from this album is the emotion I like the most that the Lumineers talk about. I feel Cleopatra
Sure.
talks about love, and even there's a little sadness to that of like living your life and like learning from you know, someone's past mistakes and like gaining knowledge from that. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but basically I think 3 is a very well made album that you should all listen to front to back. But it's my number 3.
Yeah. 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
New Wendy's deal. Actually, wait, they do have that.
Do they for real?
Is it 2? I think it's like a $3 breakfast, but it's maybe 2 items. Fix that Wendy's.
Fix that. All right. My number 3 is going to be Brightside. Yeah. I want to clarify that with Cleopatra, like when I said it was like wandering and kind of aimless, I felt like it tried to tell specific stories and then the connection was like way too abstract and vague, if that kind of makes sense. It was just kind of the dark emptiness that it was trying to convey. And this album, I feel like you're right that it wasn't specific stories. It was like snapshots, you know? And I feel like because it didn't try to, like it didn't attempt to get that specific, then it was okay for them to kind of be more abstractly related than versus like a concrete story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it accomplished what it set out to do. And it is really short, but it doesn't feel trite. It feels super compact and it gets everything across that it wants to do. Like one of the songs is even a reprise. So like it's basically like 8 tracks or 8 songs and a little encore. I really like the emotion that comes out of this album because it feels like a natural progression of where they're going, you know? It doesn't feel like they're putting on any sort of like face or like, okay, for this album we wanted to go for this sound. It just sounds like, okay, for this album we're going to go with the Lumineers, and if that's what it sounds like, then it's what it sounds like. That's how Brightside sounds, like the title track. I mean, that's how that song sounds to me.
It is very, very Lumineers. Very
to
Stomp
the
and
core.
Holler.
Very Stomp and Holler.
They did it.
They stomped and yet also hollered too.
But yeah. I forgot to mention, it's definitely evokes some like COVID trauma. Or like,
Sure.
like a lot of emotions of being, you know, dealing through COVID and stuff like that. Like, where are we? Wait, that's not the name of the track. But Birthday as well, of like life goes on even in amongst like, you know, bad times.
Yeah, there's always some sort of dread throughout all of their albums, oddly enough.
Are they okay?
Which is, again, that's pretty Billy Joel of them. If you listen to Billy Joel, like really listen to his lyrics and everything, he is not a happy artist. Even like the songs that are like radio ready dance songs, you're like, wow, this man gets the world in such a cynical way. Like he hits the nail on the head. And that's kind of how their albums are, is that like even I guess Ho Hey is a bad example because that song's pretty happy, but like a lot of their radio ready happy dance songs or their Stomp and Holler celebratory songs are still really laced with that dread that is very obvious on an album like 3, is very domineering on an album like Cleopatra, but it's still present in songs like Birthday and everything on Brightside. And it's definitely there in their first album too. Like you can feel the seeds of it or whatever.
Exactly. What was your favorite songs on Brightside?
Never Really Mine is one that I keep going back to because it feels like it goes in one direction the whole time versus like kind of returning to a chorus and like reeling back in. It feels like there's a goal in mind, even from the first note. And I feel like it reaches that goal. It's so sick.
Cool beans.
Yep.
Beans.
What about you? Top 2. Which
my top 2
will reveal your top 1 as well.
Well, I'll leave that for the one part. But my number 2.
I don't think you will.
Nah, they will never know. They could never guess it after this. My number 2 is their, what's it called? Self-titled album or whatever. The Lumineers.
All right.
I love this album. And I think a lot of people share this. This is where a lot of people learned of the Lumineers. It was their only album for 4 years, and it still captivated. Like, they wrote songs that captivated, like, their whole audience for 4 years, which is crazy.
Yeah.
They did so many live shows with that.
Very Frank Ocean of them.
Exactly. Who was that?
Frank Ocean, who dropped Channel Orange, and everyone listened to it on repeat for 4 years before he dropped Blonde. They were like, we need a new album, please. And he said, no. In fact, here's a fake album and then a real album. Yeah.
Wait, a fake album?
We'll talk about that later.
Never mind. But anyhow, this one is the most, like, happy. Like, there's not a lot of dread in this one.
It's definitely in the wayside.
Yes. There's no like theme. There's no, like, it's not like they're trying to tell a story or anything. This is just their band experimenting, and like just trying to write songs about love and, you know, heartbreak. And it's beautiful. You can hear it in like Big Parade as like that's just all about love and like different parts of people's lives and stories. You know, Slow It Down is a, you know, a heartbreak one. Kind of, it seems heartbreaky, but I think there's still a lot of just love in there. And it's just fun and also quirky. Like, Classy Girls is just, hey, let's just dance. It's a fun song about a boy trying to flirt with a girl. And I don't know, it brings me so much joy. And I think went listening back, I definitely hear how like low quality is a bit. Like Slow It Down's definitely, they recorded that in a kitchen.
It sounds like
it. It sounds great though.
It's great, but it sounds like it's recorded in a kitchen.
Exactly.
They
And
were
I
cooking.
think that's like a secret strength about this album is that it is kind of low quality, and that's what makes it kind of shameless.
We're not folk. We're lo-fi.
We're lo-fi.
That's what they meant.
Lo-fi pop.
Lo-fi bedroom kitchen pop.
Lo-fi stomp.
We are kitchen pop. Get it right.
kitchen pop.
Yes.
Yes, and I love most of these songs.
But if you had to pick one,
If I had
favorite
to pick
child.
one, my favorite child, Flowers in Your Hair.
wow,
Short song, short and sweet.
not even 2 minutes.
but very sweet.
Short and sweet, but sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nate,
What?
give us your number 2.
Can I see your notes? I wanna copy off you a bit because
We don't look at notes.
number
we don't
2
look at
is
notes.
also the Lumineers by the Lumineers.
What?
Yeah. This album has a really special place in me corazon because this was one of the first albums that I like cared about as not totally as a whole because I didn't have a means to listen to it all the way through when I first heard it,
Yeah.
but it was the first time I looked at several songs from one album and was like, oh, so this is like where it comes from. It's not just from the radio. It's not in the musical ether. It's like this is the album that I'm.
It's not. Oh, so that's how they do it.
that's just like a real thing.
It's like a good finding out how the sausage is made.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, that doesn't evoke good images.
Hey,
but you're right.
Sausage tastes great, and you know what? If you're a sausage maker, you're doing good stuff. You're doing it right. Don't let any of the world question you. Just keep doing what you're doing because it's working.
This album is good sausage. Because like everyone knew Hohe, and I'm trying to remember if any of the other ones got really popular. I feel like they kind of didn't. But
Stubborn Love.
Stubborn Love, yeah.
Keep your head up.
Yeah, learning about these songs, I immediately went to iTunes on my mom's computer, and I was like, all right, let's see what other songs I could get from this. So I think I got like I bought Flowers in Your Hair, Big Parade, Charlie Boy, Ho Hey, and Stubborn Love. Those were my songs, and I can't hear any of those without like immediately going back to like a music video I made with my friend.
Aww.
While our sisters were playing soccer, I was like, let's make a music video to this Lumineers song because that's all I have on this device. And so
Which one was it?
it was Charlie Boy.
Could you release that? We could post it.
Oh yeah.
You don't
I'll
have to.
drop that. Yeah. He signed the release form, so
Really? So we won't be striked on that.
no, I was thinking ahead.
Good.
Whatever year
Good.
this was. Yeah. I made a couple of videos of those songs just because I loved them so much, and that was my love language at whatever age I was. And I remember having like my iPod shuffle, just listening to those 5 songs over and over again. I was like, this is a cool album. Like this band dropped an album, and I'm listening to the songs. That was where it started for me. And like we were saying, like the dread that kind of marks a lot of their music is kind of pushed to the side, but you could still hear it, and I like how understated it is, especially in a song like Big Parade, which is like the most American song I've maybe ever heard.
Very American.
Very American.
Pretty sure that guy was that one president got shot in the head.
Wow.
I forgot his
That was
name.
really out of pocket.
I forgot his name. Kennedy. That's his name.
Who was mentioned in Charlie Boy.
Oh my god.
I'm thinking of that New Girl episode where they play the what's it called? True American.
I didn't watch that episode, but I've heard about it.
You would remember.
It's like Candyland or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, but that song, it feels like it's supposed to encapsulate the American spirit. Especially, there's like a part where the priest, who says that he can't be a priest anymore because he falls in love with the girl, and that kind of feels like America's like shift away from a more religious core to a more pleasure-seeking core. And then like it talks about like all the different cars and the cameras and like all the images and appearances and everything. It feels like, even though it's really happy, and he talks about like, lovely girl, won't you stay with me, and it quotes like Amazing Grace. It feels like it holds the happy and sad parts of America together, and it does a really good job of doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't think that when I first heard it.
I thought it was just a parade.
2012 or whatever year that came out. Yeah, it's just a parade. Yeah, but those are the sorts of things that I've been thinking about the more I listen to this album, which I return to relatively frequently.
Cool beans.
Cool beans. This is the album that started it for me.
Amazing. It started it for all of us.
All
Whether
of
we
us.
liked it or not. If you were in a bowling alley for a little kid's birthday party, you definitely heard the
Then you were
Lumineers.
stomping and hollering, going, "Oh, hey,
Hey!
hey, hey!" Sounded like Toad.
That is not... No, Toad... Wait, I'm going to try.
I was just baiting you. I'm so glad that worked.
Well, I don't think that was good. Oh, look at that. Look at our vocal
Look
levels.
at our vocal levels.
It's bad.
Lovely.
I might cut
Lovely
that out.
girl. All right. What's your top one?
You could never guess. You could never guess. Of the 4 albums.
They're single from the Hunger Games.
I was Cleopatra. I was young and... Oh, wait. No, it was tall. Anyhow, Cleopatra is my number 1.
Cleopatra.
This album is awesome sauce. It the quality that was kind of missing from, like, it was okay for their first album to feel like that, but I love that there's this new mixing and mastering quality that this album has, and I love how adventurous they were. There being like a secret, like there's this ballad of Cleopatra in this album, and it was
Right.
kind of hidden in their music videos. I don't think they openly said that like these were like connected stories, or like in this order these songs tell the story of this person, Cleopatra. But eventually they slowly like gave it away, and like a lot of people were like trying to figure out, like, wait, does this go here? What is this? This is actually connected.
It's like a puzzle.
And this is kind of like a movie. And I forgot to say, they do amazing jobs with their music videos. I don't know about Bright Side, but
Yeah, I wonder if they ever honed that idea of music video storytelling in an album that comes
Yeah.
later. I wonder.
I wonder, and if they did a really amazing job with that too.
I wonder.
But Cleopatra started it all, and it is beautiful. I love Cleopatra's story, and I think that's the biggest proponent for me to put this up high, because it's sad, very sad.
It's sad.
But very happy, because
What?
kinda, because it's more like you're listening to it, and I think the idea was like one of the guys was in a taxi, and they just talked to this lady who drove them, and that was the idea of it, of just learning from other people that are older than us and their stories and mistakes, but also chances that they took, and like the idea of being free and living your life in a way that's kind of happy for me, under this tone of sorrow, like this person's just thinking about what ifs, but it's not like she lived that terrible life. I forget the end of the ballad. It's probably sad, because I know it ends with My Eyes, and that
Yeah.
is a very sad song, but so is A Bit of Life.
I feel like there is an empathy that can be derived from just listening to someone else's story. So I get what you mean, I think.
Yeah. For overall, like, I do understand that, like, it kind of gets unfocused a bit in this album. I don't want to misconstrue your words, but I kind of like how free-flowing this is, where even though I love 3 and how like focused that was in its theme, I liked how it had a story in mind, but also allowed this to be an album where they can experiment and do different things. Like Ophelia is I remember the guy was talking, and he was like, I wanted to take the guitar away from me so that, like, to feel, gain a bit more confidence on stage and stuff like that. I think that's what he said. Or maybe it was a hat. I haven't watched their live stuff in a while, but I just absolutely adore these songs that are in here, like Sleep on the Floor, Ophelia, Cleopatra, Gun Song, Angela, In the Light, Gale Song. I love all these, especially like the piano part and Patience. So beautiful and solemn, and I don't know. I like how they captured all these emotions and gave us a story of a person's life within it. And that is why it's my number one.
That's real good. We don't always do this, but what would you rate this album out of 10?
For me, this is a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah. And honestly, 3 is a 9 out of 10. Lumineers is a 9 out of 10. Bright Side right now is, I need to listen to it more, but I'll just give it a 7 out of 10 as just like a brief, like I had listened through it and
yeah, sure.
Tried my best to like understand it. It's probably a 9.
A 7 that'll turn into a 9.
Exactly.
What's that Jimi Hendrix song? I'm just kidding. That's Ep.6 for 9. Can I give my number 1?
I just kind of want to go now. I think we could just stop it here.
Yeah, you know what it is. So
I mean, we could, hit us with it. Hit us with it. I really want to know your opinions on this.
1 is 3. 3 is 1.
3 is 1?
Yes, exactly, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I absolutely love 3. This like there's a significant gap, I think, between Cleopatra and Brightside as far as like how much I like those, and then I think there's a gap between Lumineers and 3, because I feel like this is their kind of their magnum opus. This was an album I listened to front to back when I was just starting university, and it was so weird because, like I said, like I had such a big connection with the Lumineers, and then I was kind of lost with Cleopatra because before I listened to it again at your behest, I was like, I don't know if I really like this album. So I was like, okay, they were just a fun thing that I had when I was younger, but I'm not gonna listen to them again. But then they had released each of the individual discs, I think, which I hate when artists do that. I hate when they release their album like a chunk at a time to get as much streams or whatever.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, I hate that. But with them, I kind of got it because each was a generation. There kind of has to be some space. I'd be curious to listen to it again front to back, but like waiting a little bit between the generations, because that's the story, as you mentioned before, is that it tells the story of addiction through 3 generations of family, and the addictions are different. Like,
yes. The last one, no, the middle guy, or technically that affects the son, is gambling, I believe. Right?
Jimmy Sparks' dad.
Jimmy Sparks' dad is a gambler.
Right.
Gloria's definitely a drinker. And what's the order of it? Do you remember? It's tough.
I'm pretty sure
it's not very open with its story unless you watch
No, but
videos.
it is. Yeah, the videos. It's a visual album. If I remember correctly, every song has a video, and it connects them all super well. I really enjoyed the structure of this album. I think that's why I liked it more than Cleopatra's. That because like those structures do exist, especially in families. So like it didn't feel unnecessary to make it as structured as it was, and I thought it did a really good job at like putting as much emotion into each of the generations as was in the one before it. Like there's so much potential for that to kind of get diluted as it goes on, but I think it did a good job of expressing how those traumas can resurface and kind of compound on each other, because you have your own problems you're dealing with and the memories of the ones that came before it, you know? So it could be such a problem to like front load an album like this, and then you can get kind of numb to it as it goes on. And yet I think it did a really good job at preserving those issues and those addictions, and like giving as much focus to the younger people as it did the older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all these songs too. I feel kind of the way you did about Cleopatra, but I think Leader of the Landslide is like top 2, and then Jimmy Sparks is maybe my favorite. Leader of the Landslide is just a masterpiece.
I love that. I think if we had to rank here, wait, actually, real quick, what's your favorite Lumineers songs of all time?
Well, I think those are
Let's do 3.
the top 2 of all of their songs. It's
really?
Jimmy Sparks, Leader of the Landslide, and probably Salt in the Sea.
Nice.
All from this album.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Here are the Landside's up there for me as well, because it's just such a good. Their hidden talent is like with not a lot of instruments. They tell a lot of stories, but also drive a lot of emotion through their instrumentation a lot. There's a lot of driving force and like, slow it down, very quiet, and then it goes up again in the chorus and stuff like that.
Because before I was familiar with this album, I would forget that Leader of the Landslide was Leader of the Landslide when I was listening to it.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 6-minute song with a couple movements. And so you'll hear the beginning and it doesn't sound anything like the end. And even in the middle, when it's kind of like metamorphosing into how the end becomes, you're still like, what? Like, where is this going? And you're right. There's a lot of drive. It's a lot of movement going on. And I think when you're talking about generations and how problems like travel through the family, that's such a crucial way to do it. Like, it seems so deliberate and intentional throughout the whole album. And I love that. And even though it's not like directly relatable for me, I like know that sort of personality that is the subject of the song, and it can be too much to listen to sometimes, just because it's it's so heartbreaking.
It is very heartbreaking, man. But it's an awesome album, and you should listen to it.
Yes.
What would be the album that you recommend these folks, these folks at home, in their
folks.
slippers?
No,
and their
they're
robes.
not folk.
They're not. There's stompers and hollowers. What would you recommend?
Newgrass. I would recommend their first album, because even though it's not as representative of where they go, because like we were saying, they change so much. If you listen to their first album and Bright Side back to back, it's like, ooh, that's a different strand of Lumineers. But I think it's a really good introduction. I think it gives their emotional range really well. It doesn't lean into that darkness as much as the rest of their albums do, and I think that's kind of a good thing for an introduction. It doesn't like, I wouldn't show Cleopatra first, because I feel like that would scare someone away. Or even 3. I feel like 3 is a little bit much if you're not familiar with their storytelling and everything. It's a lot at once. And Bright Side is good, but I don't think it's long enough or all-encompassing enough to comprehensively give what they're capable of. So I think their first album does do that, and I recommend it.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna agree with you. But I'm gonna add also, look up their street like live stuff on YouTube.
Yes,
that is a big part of them and how they interact with like smaller crowds, like a bar scene and stuff like that, and trying to get everybody to dance and be into it. And they're like walking around the street and stuff. It's just a lot of fun, and that's what they are. If you wanted to get into them.
Agreed. What do you have a top 3 of their songs?
I was thinking about that, and I was like, I don't know if I should. I didn't think about this. Leader of the Landslide's up there. Ho-Hey's up there. And Flowers in Your Hair is probably up there.
Yeah,
and Cleopatra's up there. Forgot about that one. It's probably Cleo. Cleo.
You're on a nickname basis with Cleopatra.
We got Cleo. Ho-Hey. No, Flowers in Your Hair. And Leader in the Landslide for now. Yeah.
That's your tentative 3?
Yeah, that's my 10 of 3. For sure.
Sweet.
And do we close this off?
Yeah, those are our top 4s. The Lumineers.
Wow, the Lumineers. Wow. We really love this band. And we've been in a 2010s kick recently.
Yes.
So if you guys want us to get off of that grind, why don't you go down? If you're in Spotify or you're watching on YouTube, please tell us what other artists you would like us to go over, or what like topics you would like us to talk about.
There's a strong chance that we then will.
I think we could be swayed, because we are desperate to please. We are very much people pleasers on here, and we would love to, just share music more. All right. Is this it?
This is it.
All right. Let's go make a sandwich.
Epic, dude.
All right. See you guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.